All right, that's what I was trying to do. Welcome back to another Ghost Cult Mag weekly ritual rock and metal live news stream. We're back after a few weeks hiatus. We'll explain why in a few minutes. If you haven't watched our other video, thanks for being here. We aim to do this every week. Sometimes we don't, but we are back. We are back. We are getting dug back. If you know that reference, you're awesome. Let's give the layout of the show really quick. We do some announcements. We talk about some features here at Ghost Cult. And then we run down the major rock and metal news shows of the week, festival announcements, tour dates announced, and one-off shows, major stories, do a little New Music Friday action, and then something cool from our mailbag right over my shoulder, if you know what that is. But then I'll unbox it and share it. And then we'll be sending you on your way. It's Friday in most of the world. And almost Friday here on the West Coast. So happy weekend to those who are enjoying, and good to see you. We are streaming via StreamYard on all the socials except TikTok. So if you're on TikTok, awesome. But we'll welcome in those folks here in a second. And yeah, just welcome back to our show. It's been a hot minute since we've been able to do one. So we're glad to be here. Show what's going on here with the stream on TikTok not working. Let's give it one more second. Every week it's something. It's always something technical. Let's go try one more time. We'll give it one more go. No, oh well. Oh, TikTok will not go this week. Sorry for the delay. All right, we got a big show to get to. Maybe we'll upload it later to TikTok. It kind of bites because the TikTok has been entertaining, to say the least, for the last few weeks. We'll try one more time. And it shit the bed. I don't know why. Oh, well, moving on. No TikTok this week. But I'm here. If you're following along on the gram, if you're following along here on Dillinger Compound is here. Dear Motorist is here. M. White City is here. Anakin Awakening. Zenful Rocker. Nashing Official. Good to see you. Oh, yeah, I interviewed Paris. Dillinger Compound is saying I got to check out Paris Mayhew on the Hard Lord podcast. Shout out to the Hard Lord podcast. Those are some pals. We interviewed Colin last year at Aftershock and talked all about hard lore and Twitching Tongues and God's Hate and NotFest.com. We interviewed Paris also for that same Crowbags hardcore Paris's instrumental record. That's amazing. Goth Kitty is here. What's up? Good to see you. Back in the saddle again. For a show back in a few weeks, going to talk about why in just a second. So, yep, that's the deck. Here's some announcements. First and foremost, this show and a bunch of future shows will continue to be dedicated to Florida guitar luthier Sonia Ramos. Sonia is battling stage 4 cancer. There's been a lot of fundraiser action for her. There's a GoFundMe, and she's a friend to the channel and a friend to the show. So we are trying to support our friends. There'll be a link in our description and even potentially in our linktree where you can donate if that's your kind of thing. I hope it is. It's nice to be nice. She's done a lot for the community. It'd be nice to pay it forward and give something back to her. And then for the update for me, why it took us, there's like an echo here, why it took us a few weeks to get back on the show. I spent a week in the hospital last week after suffering the result of a lot of unchecked health problems I've had for a long time. I did a live stream about this. Turns out I have type 2 diabetes, and I knew already I had chronic high blood pressure and wasn't doing anything about it for ages. These are bad things to do to yourself as you get older. Like I am getting older, like a lot of us metalheads are getting older and not any younger. So, my word is go out there, get yourself checked out, get yourself checked on, keep with your regular doctor's visits. And if you know something's wrong with you, don't be an idiot like I was and not pay attention to your problems, because this is some dunderheaded stuff. And don't have time for regrets. I'm just on an aggressive program of meds and eating right and trying to exercise more and just generally keep on top of my health and well-being. I hope I do from here on out. If you got any questions, holler at me. If you got some low glycemic dietary menu options, let me know. I'm listening to all ears. Anybody with some advice, I'm down to hear it. But it wasn't easy to talk about. I'm not going to front, but here we are. I felt like it was important to talk about these things. And like I said, I think a lot of people are getting to a certain age. Our heroes are leaving us, and I don't want to go anywhere. So that's that story. By the way, I've been out of work, so if anybody wants to drop us a super thanks or a donation of any kind, we will take it. We take Cashapp. We've got a PayPal. We've got a Ko-fi. You can buy us a coffee on Ko-fi, whatever you like. Everything helps. Now for the meat of the show. Here's some features. We usually start with the rough news. Of course, we have a newsletter. In case you didn't know, for a couple of weeks we didn't do this live stream. We didn't do our newsletter. We've still been putting out reviews and show reviews and a ton of album reviews, actually more album reviews at this clip than we did all of last year. But oh my God, Dillinger Compound just had quadruple bypass surgery. Absolutely. I'm so sorry to hear that. I lost my father to a heart attack, and he was supposed to have quadruple bypass surgery, and he didn't make it to the surgery because he had yet another heart attack. So I don't know about thoughts and prayers, but my well wishes and support goes out to you, Dillinger Compound. You do a lot for your community and our musical community, and I hope you get better soon. But yeah, I got some friends in here. I've had a lot of nice messages of support about my issues. But just once again, we're back on our shit. So this show, our newsletter, sign up for these things. We don't get you every single damn day. We try to space it out to like once a week, or when there's an absolute emergency thing we have to share. Yeah, it's tough. It's real tough. It's real tough out there. But I'm going to be better. Yeah, I'm going to be better. Also, we're on Twitch. We're on all the social things, Threads, Blue Sky, X, whatever the hell. And again, if you're sick of social media and you don't have time to watch these videos, feel free to join our Discord or our Reddit channels and get a direct feed of all our stuff right to you, right to your app, right to your inbox, right to your computer and desktop apps and laptops, and just skip everything and just get the news and the content straight to you. All our YouTube videos, including this one, they all go there. So go get on it. Drinking my Liquid Death, former Ghost Cult sponsor and current affiliate partner with Liquid Death Convicted Melon Seltzer. Pretty tasty. Also, here's where we get into the bad news of the week. This was a real tough one. Again, my own battles with mortality, notwithstanding, it's just hard to lose people. Martin LaCroix, the former one-time vocalist of Cryptopsy, passed away. The band shared some remembrances. Fans shared remembrances. He wasn't in the longest, but he was killer. Sugarbush Mark is here. Hi, Sugarbush Mark. So yeah, rest in power, Martin LaCroix. Also with quite a few losses. Some of this news this week's going to be like the last week and a half, 2 weeks, because I've been out of the loop. Websites continue to have stories, but I haven't been plugging away on all of them. Shout out to our whole team, our reviews team, Paul McMillan on the news, OJ Cordy, my partner and co-owner of Ghost Cult, on video edits, all kinds of things. Also passed away Marlena Shaw, an incredible jazz singer. I hate to screen grab off of other websites, but I don't own any photos of some of these people. So rest in power, Marlena Shaw, fantastic singer. I actually saw her back in the 90s when I used to go to jazz clubs with my mom. She's quite a great singer. And her news was reported on her passing by her daughter, who she was apparently very close to. This is a tough one. Jessie Jane, the former adult actress, had crossed over to the mainstream about 10, 15 years ago, had been in movies, was in television shows, and she passed away of a drug overdose along with her boyfriend. So we don't know the full details, but really sad. Yeah, 43, pretty young, younger than me. So you hate to see it. She's a Hollywood and Las Vegas fixture, and well known for her films and public appearances. So very sad. Also David Soul. I don't know if you're old enough to remember the original Starsky and Hutch TV show. David Soul also had a singing career. He was handsome, tall, fantastic character actor, played a great foil on Starsky and Hutch, and an iconic 70s and 80s personality. So very sad to see him go. Also, Mary Weiss, who was the original lead singer of the Shangri-Las in the 60s, famous for the song Leader of the Pack, also died. A lot of people of a certain age are passing away. So again, with my own recent health issues, I'm just trying to focus up and take the best care of myself I can. Also, Melanie, who sang at Woodstock 69, incredible folk singer, one-time pop artist, also passed on. So again, a lot of people lost along the way. And then just a funny meme to cleanse the palate before we go on to the rest of the news. All right, let's try to fire blast through some of these features this week here at Ghost Cult. We just ran today our interview with Carlos Crosell of Solemn Vision. They put out a killer melodic death metal album last fall. They are playing the 70 Tons of Metal pre-party in Miami this weekend. And they are a killer band from New York City. They've done some touring, and they are fantastic. And definitely check out this interview with Carlos. He's also worked in the music industry, so he's got quite a lot of thoughts on how a DIY band, can make it and get signed and do stuff like that. So we've talked about quite a bit of that stuff. Also, this is a photo from Riot Fest, which I covered last fall on my birthday. This is Fake Names, the punk rock royalty supergroup, and I don't use that term lightly when it comes to these guys. Members of Refused and Bad Religion and Boys Against Girls and Minor Threat and Fugazi and International Noise Conspiracy, some of the greatest bands in the world, all came together to make this supergroup. They actually met and formed at Riot Fest years ago, and I got to interview Brian Baker and Brendan Canty, and it was an honor. And it's a pretty quick interview, and we talk kind of about the band and supergroups and getting older and taking care of yourselves and how come they don't party so much anymore. So definitely check that out. A pretty cool interview. I was, again, really tickled pink to get to do that. So I really appreciate you, Epitaph Records, for setting that up. Ember, the band, is here. Good to see you. Also, I ran my interview with Joey Diabolic. Kind of felt more like talking to my brother than talking to an artist. But Joey is not only a musician and makes a lot of metal and industrial metal and soundtracky type stuff and music. He's a creative force. He owns a design company. He does services for bands. He moved from the East Coast to Hollywood, and he wrote basically a whole album on the drive out to California where he moved. So pretty killer, great guy, and really a lot of fun to talk to. Also, here's me, speaking of Riot Fest, here's me with Jamie at Code Orange for a pretty awesome quick interview we did with Code Orange about their new album, The Above. Obviously, this is before the recent announcement that Code Orange was going to cancel all of their 2024 dates so far due to an illness in the band. So sweet. And Brian Baker was wonderful, man, and he was really nice. And then I got to see Bad Religion, probably one of my top 3 or 4 shows of all of 2023. I got to see Bad Religion. They didn't have a place to play. All the venues were taken in Las Vegas, so they played a bar for like 150 people. I saw Bad Religion in 2023 in a bar with like maybe 167 people. And then I hung out all night with the sound guy who is like in their crew is like the Knights of the Round Table. They never leave and they never die. They never like leave the band. They stay. Their road crew is their road crew. And I was talking to them all night, and they gave me a set list, and it was pretty amazing. I actually didn't have a ticket. I didn't realize it was in such a small place, and I kind of bullshitted my way in for free, which was kind of sick. The things you can do. Talk my way in. But Jamie from Code Orange is a band I've been following since the beginning. We reminisced about seeing them in a small club and violent shows and just straight up punchy hardcore. And now they did a main stage show at Riot Fest, and it was absolutely epic. And they were fantastic. So that was really, really cool for me. And he was really nice. Also, just a reminder, we ran our recent interview with Health. Their new album, Rat Wars, is out now on Loma Vista Recordings. Rat Wars, one of the top albums, top 20 albums for Ghost Cult in 2023. And talked to Jake Duzek about the newest album and their future plans. So it was really killer. So killer. Also, in case you missed it, and you're of the goth persuasion, I interviewed Lal Tolhurst and Budgie. Lal was the original co-founding drummer of The Cure and was in the band through the recording of Disintegration. And Budgie was the drummer for Susie and the Banshees and the Slits and other royalty of post-punk and punk rock. And they have a new album out together. Lal has a new book out about sort of the history and the origins of goth culture and goth music. And it was really educational, and they were really lovely. And they're both based in LA now, and they have a band with a new album out with another collaborator, Jackknife Lee. So really cool if you want to look all that up. We'll link everything in the description. Piercing Metal is here, my good friend, Piercing Ken of Piercing Metal NYC. Please give him a follow if you can. It would be really neat. He's a peer and a friend. Good to see you, pal. Also, here's Jerris Johnson, who we also interviewed literally ran the interview while I was in a hospital bed. Jerris is the shit. He has got a very interesting story. We first interviewed him a year and a half ago at Aftershock. He had a big record deal, and then his record label got gobbled up by another record label, and he had to get out of that deal, and now he's completely DIY. He put out a new song, I think, last week. He's got an album coming out soon. It's pretty sick. And he's still pretty much a force to be reckoned with as a viral social media artist. He's just doing it less intently as he used to. He's really trying to live his life and make music and be a social media person second, which is the goal we should all have. We need to be creative and creators first and foremost, and then kind of do the rest. Do the rest later. That's it. So again, not only do we have these video interviews on our YouTube, thanks for being here if that's how you found us. We also have a podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, the Ghost Cult Magazine podcast. Many of these interviews live as podcasts, but we also have some unique content as podcasts. Feel free to check that out. And this show will, of course, also be a podcast over the weekend when I'm able to re-upload it. Also, one of the podcasts we support is the Heavy Business Podcast. I was a recent guest. I will be a guest again now that I'm out of the hospital and on the mend. I will get back to guesting on podcasts. Probably going to do some other pod pop-up appearances in the near future. I talked to my good friend from Southeast of Heaven about being on his podcast. So there'll be some other ones I'll pop up and do. Another podcast we like is the Metal Council Podcast, legal advice for your bands. Just good sharing the community, a rising tide raises all ships or something. That's how it goes. And of course, the Glacially Musical Podcast this week had a Chaser episode, finally back after a couple of weeks. We ended our series on DRI, and we did a special one-off Chaser episode on Dolly Parton's new album, Rockstar. This is just a little poster from the single. I mean, Dolly Parton's a legend and a treasure. She's incredible anyway. She did this. She made the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, whatever you feel about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Halls of Fame and awards. And then she felt like she tried to turn it down because she felt like she didn't deserve it, being a country artist her whole career. So she decided, well, I'm going to go out there and make a rock album. And she didn't just make a rock album. She wrote a handful of original rock songs, but she also covered like 30 songs by other artists. And in many cases, had them on the tracks with her. So I don't know who else, she did a track with Rob Halford of Judas Priest. That's okay. It's pretty good. She covered all kinds of artists, sang with Pat Benatar and Joan Jett and Blondie and Stevie Nicks and Ann Wilson of Heart and Chris Stapleton and so many other artists, Michael McDonald, Sting, but also she did Let It Be, probably arguably the most popular song ever by the Beatles, with Paul and Ringo backing her up on Paul's song that he wrote. Unbelievable. Only Dolly could pull it off. Listen to the podcast and find out if this record is actually any good. It's pretty good in parts, I'll say that. But listen to the whole podcast. Glacially Musical. Shout out to my podcast host, Nick Cameron, and check us out. Beer, Metal, and Swearing. That's basically what we do. Vinyl Nerdism. Our next series is on Slayer, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do all of the great Slayer records. Also, as we mentioned, we always have our own advertising. Again, I've been out of work, so feel free to donate some money to me if you can. Feel free to buy us a super thanks or a super like or a super chat or a coffee on Ko-fi or Cashapp or something. A couple of bucks would be helpful. But also, we are part of the Lambgoat Media Network. So if you're looking to advertise your band, your release, your album, your DIY story, your record label, Lambgoat Media has got you covered. Just check them out at lambgoatmedia.com. We are part of that. The ads you see on our website are that. And again, just a quick moment for our affiliate sponsor, Sticker Mule, your one-stop shop for custom die-cut stickers. We don't use anything that we don't endorse anything that we don't already like and use ourselves. So you've seen me share these all the time as I knock over my bottle of aspirin to show you this coaster. I have this Sticker Mule coaster, but of course they do stickers, they do keychains, they do magnets, they do mailers with your logo on it, they do mailing tape, they do all kinds of things. And if you sign up with the link in our description, you get $10 off your first order, and we get $10 off our next order, which is pretty rad. We've also done buttons with them, all kinds of stuff. We love you, Sticker Mule. Good stuff. All right. Just another fun meme because I'm all full of memes to cheer myself up. Goth girls and their metal boyfriends. I think Goth Kitty is here. She would probably relate to this. Goth Kitty Jen. But all right. Here's the rest of the news. It's time. Warrior Management is here. Hello. Good times. All right. Time for the news rundown. Let's get it. Festival time. Here's all the festivals taking place tonight, this weekend. Of course, Planet Desert Rock 4, the 4th edition. I did an interview a couple weeks ago with John Gist of Vegas Rock Revolution that promotes this show and puts on this festival. And killer festival it is. And so here is the show, just to run down the order of the lineup really quick. Bear with me 1 second because I want to get the bigger view of this thing and show it to you all. So yeah, Planet Desert Rock. Tonight's lineup includes Fatso Jetson, Scorpion Child, Sandvice, and Mizoa. Tomorrow night's lineup is Brant Bjork Trio, the return of Spiral Arms. Oh my goodness. I haven't heard from them in a long time. Black Elephant, Warlung, Flames of Durga, and Saturday, Space Slug, Freedom Hawk, Baracho, Beastmaker, Sungrow, and Sonolith. What a killer lineup. John's a fantastic guy, and hopefully next year we'll get out there and cover it. Bill the Demon is here. Hi, Bill the Demon. Also just announced, Arctangent 10 has announced a ton of new bands, including Mogwai and Explosions in the Sky, and so many Clowncore, so many new bands, Julie Christmas, Amun Ra, but again, also Textures, Conan, Bo Ninjin from Japan, Red Fang, Meshuggah, Animals as Leaders, Isan, Pliny, Three Trap Tigers, Delta Sleep Night versus Electric Wizard, Caspian, Slift, Boss, Kex Vessel, Ken Mode, Earth Tone 9. So many killer bands. We covered it last year. We will hopefully cover it again. That's Arctangent. Also metal And Decibel Metal and Beer Fest has announced their pre-party lineup. I think this is pretty rad. Pretty cool. I love the illegible logo. Undeath is the actual headliner of the pre-party. Pretty sick. This is a very special event. I've been to a couple of these, and they're very intimate. Kevin Horizon is here, or is a fan of your name, Kevin Horizon. But yeah, Metal and Beer Fest announces Undeath, and yeah, pretty great. I would love to come back east for it. I don't know if it's possible. I have the Sick New World in Vegas the week after, so I don't know if I can pull off 2 trips. But yeah, Cult Fest Resurrected. Cult Fest is back. We've been talking about this. This is coming up next month, so just putting it on your radar once again if you're in the UK. What a killer lineup this is. Also, Bottle Rock this year has Pearl Jam. They did finally announce their daily lineups, and their tickets are on sale. I wouldn't mind going to see Stevie Nicks and St. Vincent. There's a handful of other pretty rockin' bands on here, but it's not quite the rock lineup it had been the last few years. So, I know it's tough to do, but well, we'll see what happens. It's Memorial Day weekend in Napa Valley. Definitely the fanciest and funnest festival in terms of the quality of food and beer and how chill it is and how easy it is to do. Also, Governor's Ball, not that great this year, to be real honest. Post Malone, The Killers playing a whole album. I kind of expected this to be a better lineup, to be honest with you. Governor's Ball used to be a lot heavier on alternative rock. Also, Coachella, other than a handful of bands, don't care that much. Queens of the Stone Age, Turnstile. Don't care for a lot of these artists. Just me personally, but maybe you do. I don't know. Probably something a little closer to what you want to go to. Total Death Fest with a ton of illegible, unreadable lineup names, bands on the lineup. Let's see if I can read some of these. And yeah, I can't barely, In Your Grave, I can barely make out these names. But anyway, that's taking place May 3rd and 4th. May the 4th be with you in South Carolina at Ground Zero, the legendary Ground Zero Club. So, but yeah, I can't read these names. All right. Maybe we need like a map legend for all the black metal and death metal festivals so I can read the names. Kaltenbach Open Air over in Europe next summer. Napalm Death, Destruction, Havoc, Bork Nagar, who recently announced a new album. Campfire, Destroyer 666. Those guys kind of suck, but whatever. Obscura, Malevolent Creation, also questionable. Vomitory, Heathen, Uada, Thriving, Sour, Mork, Bewitched. So, yeah, a couple of, Hell Rippers on there. So there's some great bands on here and some you could probably skip. But anyway, skip. Sometimes you got crummy people or crummy band people. By the way, if you got questions to answer, typically your super chat or your super thanks on YouTube goes to the top of the list. But if you've got questions about all the goings on in rock and metal this week and the last couple of weeks since I've been out with an illness, feel free to ask the questions away and we will probably answer your questions anyway. Basin Fire Fest. This looks killer. They added a bunch of new bands, including Fear Factory, Cradle of Filth, Blind Guardian. So much ass kicking on this one. Muddy Roots is coming back. They sent a little missive around that they're going to announce their full lineup soon. They also apparently booked one of their biggest wish list artists ever. So something to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on that for the near future. Rectal Smegma. I know. What are some of these band names? Anywho, I'll give you death metal creativity points. You've always got like the high creativity on some of these names, even if they're supposed to make you wince. That's what they're there for. I interviewed the former bassist, the Pupil Slicer. I was like, did you guys know when you called your band Pupil Slicer, it was going to have this effect on people? And he was like, absolutely. We totally did that on purpose. I was like, you did, didn't you? Fear Factory is not only still together. I saw them last week. Fear Factory, I came out of the hospital and immediately went to a concert because I'm a dumbass. No, I was okay. I'm not quite on bed rest as much as I just need to take my meds. And Fear Factory is together and has a new singer from Italy, Milo Silvestro. And he is incredible. He sounds like a young Burton C. Bell. Burton and Dino had a parting of the ways. Burton is not coming back. He's doing his own music right now. And yeah, Fear Factory is fantastic. There's a review on our website if you want to check it out, Kevin's Horizon. Fear Factory and Machine Head on tour together right now. And I think we got the poster in here to just shout that out. That review is live on our site. And on to the regular concerts and one-off shows. There's the news of the week that broke the internet a little bit. Sharon Osbourne has been doing kind of like a spoken word entertainment show in the UK where she, raps with the audience for a few hours. And she revealed, which was later published in the Daily Mirror, usually a rag newspaper in the UK, but Sharon said from the stage she is planning the 2 farewell shows for Ozzy to perform at. He's been on this, like, I want to perform one last time. I miss my fans. I can't tour, but I really want to perform. And so Sharon is going to put on 2 shows in Birmingham, England, Ozzy's hometown. You can only imagine what kind of event this is going to be. I don't want to see Ozzy in a chair. I saw some videos of Genesis do their final farewell tour with Phil Collins in a chair. He's had a bunch of injuries. He can't perform anymore like he used to. And, as much as it pains me to think about a world without Ozzy in it, I don't want him up there looking, being weak. Ozzy, I want to remember Ozzy, the incredible physical performer that he was, and a great entertainer. And I think it'll be really sad if he can't get up there and get out there and do his thing the way he normally does. But the shows are in the works, so we'll see what they do. Also, in no particular order of specialness, Bell Witch has announced a bunch of shows in Europe leading up to their appearance at Roadburn. Bell Witch is great, one of the best bands I've ever seen live. They put out a new full-length album last year. They have a trilogy of albums coming out. And basically, if you're not familiar with Bell Witch, is this oppressive funeral doom, and it's basically one long song for an hour and a half, basically. So their album was really awesome. A kind of surprise release. It was a little overlooked, I think. So I don't think surprise releases work really for underground bands. People are not sitting around waiting for your band to put out a thing. But Bell Witch is wonderful. Definitely get in on that if you're not aware. Get familiar, as I like to say. Also, Hatebreed continues to book anniversary shows, 30th anniversary shows, 25th anniversary shows. They are doing a one-off matinee in their backyard in Connecticut with Shadows Fall and a bunch of killer bands. 2 New England Titans. They're doing 2 stages, so like a big all-dayer matinee, hardcore style matinee with Hatebreed at the end. So not too shabby. That's in addition to a bunch of other stuff they've announced already. Also, Enterprise Earth, who has a new album coming out, has announced a headline tour. If you're a big fan of the deathcore, kind of brutal, technical death metal deathcore band. Go Ahead and Die. Speaking of, we just covered them, and you'll be a review tomorrow at Ghost Cult. Go Ahead and Die is the band that features Max Cavalera and his son Zion Cavalera. I'm sorry. Is it Zion? I think it's Zion. Trying to figure out which brother is in the band. Max and his many sons. But Go Ahead and Die is on tour now with Body Box and usual local openers. So definitely check that out. Also, here's a sneak preview of our Machine Head coverage. This is Machine Head on stage live last week at the Warfield in San Francisco. They have a huge video screen, and they did almost a song off of every record, just about, almost. Maybe they left out an album or 2, but they did a lot of stuff. And the new material, it's really great to hear the new music from the 2022 album of Kingdom and Crown. It's absolutely killer. They did quite a bunch of songs off of that, so it was really cool. Great band, great live band. Go see them. His first American tour is in 4 years. They canceled one last year, so they're back. Eat the Turnbuckle Battle Royale, the Bloodbath, featuring Ringworm. That's coming up pretty soon. Looks like a one-off, but, who else is on this? Anti-Scene, Fang, and Ground. at Underground Arts in Philadelphia. I've been there for a show. Pretty cool place. Sponsored by Horror, Pain, Gore, Death, a pretty good label, and a few other Metal Blade and a few other places. So not too shabby. Not too shabby. That looks like fun. Bat Sabbath is still on tour in the UK. That is the alter ego of Cancer Bats that does Black Sabbath covers. They are in the midst of their tour. I think they have another week left on the road before that. They call that a day. I really wish Cancer Bats would come back to the US. They did the East Coast last year, and I missed them. So I really hope they come back again. Also, Sleep Token. We're going to talk more about these guys in a minute. They did announce a full US tour. They're going to perform at Red Rocks. They're going to perform at Sick New World, which I will be at. But they announced a whole headline tour, the Teeth of God tour, along with direct support from Empire State Bastard, which is the supergroup, hardcore and thrash metal supergroup from the members of Biffy Clyro from the UK and Dave Lombardo, formerly of Every Band Ever, and currently of Dead Cross and Mr. Bungle, but also having been in a jillion bands. Orgy and Cold are going to throw it back to 1999 with their own tour. This looks actually pretty cool. Orgy's going to celebrate 25 years of Candy Ass. Special guests on the tour include Horizon Theory and Ayatoya, who I saw last year open for Stabbing Westward, and she has a new album coming out that is fantastic. I heard the first song, and I was absolutely blown away. She's incredible, probably the next big thing in sort of dancey music for angry, punchy people, aka industrial metal. She's fantastic. Also, Alkaline Trio's got a new album coming out, and they're booked a whole headline tour to go with additional tour dates they've already booked. So it'd be really interesting to see this Alkaline Trio's first album back since Matt Skiba left Blink-182. So Tom could come back to Blink-182. I don't think they treated him particularly well the entire time he was in the band or since he left, but good to have the trio back if you're a fan. You like the emo, rock, and punk stuff that a trio does. I'm a fan. In Flames has booked a Sick Killer tour with Gatecreeper and Creeping Death. Really cool to see In Flames taking out some other bands, some newer bands, and absolutely cutting-edge bands, especially Gatecreeper in the second slot there. In Flames continuing to tour behind their 2023 album, Foregone. All right. Anthrax, Creator, and Testament are going to tour this year in Europe. Please, for the love of Satan, let me get a new Anthrax record, and let me get an Anthrax headline tour of America or co-headline tour of America. Creator is working on a new album, but it won't be out until 2025. And Testament is writing and recording their new album right now. So I'm absolutely hoping that we get new music from all three of these bands in the next by and by. But Anthrax, please, I'm begging you. I'm not getting any younger. Let's get this new Anthrax record out. This is pretty cool. Leading up to Maryland Death Fest, I believe this is Aura Noir and Ahab. Pretty sick. This is at Vitus, but I believe all these bands are playing at Maryland Death Fest, so it's that weekend right before Maryland Death Fest. And there's some other bands on this too. Pretty sick. We're getting just a wealth of tours the last couple of weeks. Have been announced. Mr. Bungle has announced additional headline dates in the U.S. Fantastic. Good time to have Mr. Bungle back. I wouldn't mind another Mr. Bungle album. Obviously, they've already done the demos and a few originals. I would not mind a whole album of Mr. Bungle, thrash metal, and hardcore originals. Would you like that? Drop a comment and let us know if you're down for some more Mr. Bungle. Here's another one. I love this poster. This is Agriculture from LA. I saw them open for Baroness last year, and they are brutal, atmospheric black metal band that goes through a lot of movements and changes in all their songs, and then they're just like crushing. So Definitely a band if you like the American black metal. That's probably for you. They're definitely unconventional. They're not corpse painted people, but they are serious. And looking at this, they got a couple of California shows: San Diego, Los Angeles, and then Toronto, Montreal, Boston, Brooklyn, Philly, and then over to Roadburn. So again, Roadburn, we'll probably be back there again one more time, covering the vaunted European festival. We'll be talking more about them in the coming months and maybe preview the festival. Right? Couldn't you use new Mr. Bungle songs? They were the highlight of my Riot Fest. They were one of the last bands to play on Saturday, and they were fantastic. And I absolutely loved seeing them. And I saw Bungle 3 times last year, actually. Headlined by themselves, Sick New World, and Riot Fest. They were equally awesome each time. The headline show was over 2 hours of covers and originals. It was marvelous. I know it's not the Mr. Bungle people remember, but it's definitely killer. This is one of the great stories of this whole week. So Infectious Grooves, typically known as the side band or the other band from the guys in Suicidal Tendencies, Mike Beer and Dean Pleasance. They had a bunch of records in the early 90s, including a big hit single with Ozzy, Therapy. The song was an MTV staple, not just on Headbangers Ball, but regular MTV. And they, last couple of years, they would pop up and play sort of like a mini set during a Suicidal show, or like Suicidal would play some Infectious Groove songs because they have overlapping members. But now they're going to do a little headline run in 2024 in the spring. And for this one-off headline run, they get Robert Trujillo from Metallica, who was an original member of Infectious Grooves. He co-founded the band and wrote all the songs basically with Mike and Dean Pleasance. And Robert is amazing. And he popped up with Suicidal last fall when Suicidal opened up for Metallica. And not only did they have Robert Trujillo on bass, they got Jay Weinberg to come. It's his first drumming anything since he was summarily fired from Slipknot. Jay is recovering from his multiple surgeries that he needed to kind of get back into 100% shape. Again, still hoping that's not the reason he was fired from Slipknot. He seems like it's for other reasons, but he was fired. This is his first gig back playing drums. Infectious Grooves has had amazing drummers, including Brooks Wackerman, who also played with Suicidal, and Brooks is currently with Avenged Sevenfold, so he was too busy to go do the gig. They've had other drummers as well, so very exciting. And also on rhythm guitar, Dave Kushner, who you might know, formerly of Velvet Revolver and a bunch of punk bands in LA. So what an incredible lineup. I kind of wish this was coming to America, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Keep it funky. That's what I say. Keep it funky. So yeah, there's the Infectious Grooves poster of Sarsipius surfing with a sort of a Outback hat and a koala. Like the most, somebody is like, I've never been to, and by the way, Mike Neer lives in Australia part-time. So like he knows very well like all the things that are stereotypically Australian. He should know. Also, our homies in Capra, who put out an incredible album last year on Blacklight Media / Metal Blade Records. Errors has booked additional headline dates in North America as well as the rest of the year. They're going to be very busy and active all year long. Arthur CT is here. Colby W104 is here. Good to see you. Thanks for being part of our show. This is our Rock and Metal News live stream. Also, Wednesday 13 has announced a huge tour of Europe playing the music of Murder Dolls. Rest in power, Joey Jordison. It is 20 years since the debut of the Murder Dolls album, and Wednesday is on tour doing those songs. So I know there was a whole brouhaha last year about who owns the Murder Dolls music and name, but I think Wednesday won that thing. Let's see what else. Let's see. Right. The Independent, none of these are major shows for me, but I don't know, I might like to see Andre 3000 do a solo flute show. But the Independent's a great venue here in my current town of San Francisco. I got to see so many killer shows there, including the intimate Metallica pop-up show with 500 people on my birthday a couple years ago, 3 years ago. And but also I've seen quite a few great shows there. So I definitely can't recommend it enough. They are doing a 20-year celebration series of shows. They occasionally have some rock and metal and punk shows. So good things just to support that venue. I wanted to pop this up in here. Probably not a big deal for some of you. Ministry has announced another slew of dates with Gary Newman and Frontline Assembly. I have to go to this. This is definitely coming to my town. Crystal Spiders is here. Hello, Crystal Spiders. Great to see you. Very much looking forward to new music from y'all. And you are tuning into our Rock and Metal News live stream. Crystal Spiders, a band you need to know all about. Also, Death to All has announced a run of tour dates in Mexico, Central America, and South America. Death to All is, of course, made up of former members of the band Death and guitarist, vocalist Max Phelps stepping in for Chuck Schuldiner. And they are playing all eras of Death on this tour. Sometimes they do just an album specifically, but now they're going to do this particular date. That is, of course, Bobby Cobelli, Gene Hoglan, the Atomic Clock, arguably one of the greatest drummers ever, and Steve DiGiorgio, also of Testament. And then in some cancellations, this kind of came out of nowhere. Yep, I saw some Instagrams there, Crystal Spiders, in the studio right now. Cannot wait. Very excited for you. Couple of bands had to cancel all of their 2024 tour dates. Metal Church put out a statement. This is a screen grab from our homie Mark Lopes, who became the singer of Metal Church a year and a half ago. They put out an exceptional record last year, and unfortunately, guitarist and leader of the band, Kurt Vanderhoof, has got a bad back and needs a surgery he's been putting off, and so they have canceled all of their tour dates. As I started the show talking about my personal ill health that I need to take better care of. Obviously, you see a lot of, it's just not worth it to go on tour and not feel good. It's touring's hard enough. That's why I say, like, you don't understand how hard it is to go on tour. Anybody that's been in a regular touring band knows there are challenges beyond being away from home and missing your family and roughing it and sleeping in a van. Potsy, the band, is here. Hey, Potsy, it's been a minute. Good to see you. So Metal Church has canceled all of their tour dates for 2024 and also canceling all their dates for 2024. Here's Thomas Lindberg of At the Gates, shot by my buddy there, Omar Cordy, OJC Picks. At the Gates has canceled all of their 2024 shows without explanation. I really hope everybody in their camp is okay. Not sure if it's personal or some other issues, but please, do all the things and come back. They've been on tour basically for the last 4 or 5 years in a row. They did put out an EP, and they have been playing all of Slaughter of the Soul live. So I'm not sure if it's burnout. I'm not sure if it was just not worth it, or if there's something else at foot here, something else amiss, and another reason they can't. Event Horizon saw Death Rocks and Starbenders at the Independent. Death Rocks is rad, and Starbenders is one of the most underrated bands that had an album out last year. A really great album. It kind of got overlooked a little bit. I know it was the number 1 or 2 album by one of our writers, and nobody else knew who they were. It was really weird, but they're a killer band. So very cool, Kevin. I don't know if you're local to me, but if you are, come say hi if you see me at a show. Not sure what my next show is right now here in San Francisco, but absolutely say what's up if you're local to me. And then just because for shits and giggles, I've never seen Willie Nelson, and Willie Nelson and family continue to tour. He is 90 years old, and he is out touring younger bands, putting them all to shame. Willie is a treasure, and I want to see him. I've never seen him live. Glass Artery is here. What's up? All right, that's all the festivals and the show news. Oh, let's kind of try to blast through this last little bit of the show here. I was quite a lot catching up on the last few weeks that I missed, and you missed because you didn't have me. So let's jump through these major news stories pretty quick. First and foremost, the Metal Hall of Fame was last night in Anaheim. Shout out to the Metal Hall of Fame and to our friend Raquel Figlo of Raquel Figlo Promotions and Publicity. She was the publicist on the event. I would like to have gone, but again, could not go due to my ill health. Let's talk about who was inducted into the Metal Hall of Fame. Last night, Eddie Trunk was the host. Tom Morello, Eddie Trunk himself, Mick Mars via video, Sebastian Bach, inducted by Wendy Dio, Ripper Owens, Carlos Cavazo of Quiet Riot, Penelope Spheris from Wayne's World and the Decline of Western Civilization, Cleopatra Records, Much Respect, Michael Maglieri, who just passed away, Rip, the second owner of Whiskey A Go-Go, I believe, Biohazard from my hometown of New York City, and many, many guest performers, including Joel Hokestra, Whitesnake and Night Ranger, and TSO, Kings of Thrash, Dave Ellefson, Chris Poland, Jeff Young, Ken Mary of Flotsam and Jetsam, Held Hostage, Keith St. John of Kingdom Come, Deconstruct, Jordan Ziff from the Stephen Piercy Band, Sergio Michelle, Jack Gibson of Exodus, Ari Kamen of Adler's Appetite, Sean McNabb of Dokken, and many more. Congrats to all the new inductees. Elias Thrasher Thistles here. What's up? What's up? I am feeling better. Thank you, Crystal Spiders. I posted a video elsewhere on the channel. I have full-blown diabetes. Didn't take care of myself for many years. I have chronic high blood pressure and some other health issues. So starting to make some changes. I got a gang of pills waiting for me to take them sitting here. No fun, but I did it to myself. I learned it by watching me. So I'm just going to do better going forward. W. Moreland is here. Hello, hello. Thanks for being here. You're catching the tail end of our live rock and metal show. Winter Sun, this gave me a chuckle from my hospital bed. I was getting poked and prodded like a pincushion. And Winter Sun has announced finally they're going to put out Time 2. Now, I don't know if you remember this or if you know, Winter Sun's a melodic folk death metal band. Multivariant, multi-hyphenate style of band. And their frontman, Yari Manepa, is well-loved and respected. Their fan base is insanely ravenous. And about 10 years ago, they did a crowdfunding campaign to raise money to build a studio so he could make Time 2 the follow-up to Time 1. He built that studio, he took the money, and then he made another album that wasn't Time 2 that people felt they paid for, didn't get. And, he doesn't quite understand. He derides crowdfunding, but uses it to take money from fans. He finally has completed Time 2. Even a member of the band thought it was a joke, like a hoax on social media. So that goes to show you, if a guy in his own band wasn't sure if it was real or not, you're the problem. But I'm very excited if it's actually coming out and when it comes out. But he says it's all done. Time 2. The jury's out. We'll see. Also, it's always time for some Metallica news right at the top. Metallica, I think they got nominated for a Clio. They are nominated for an American Music Award. We don't care about some of these things. Or iHeartRadio Award. That's what this is. We already know they're nominated for a Grammy for next month. We'll see if they win. Who knows? Also, Super 7 and Metallica have teamed up to put out yet another Cliff Burton reaction figure. This is their third. Cliff in the flannel from the Master of Puppets tour. If you saw that tour, that was his final tour ever with the band before he passed away. His untimely death. It's almost 40 years since he died. 37 years. It's crazy. But I have the previous two Cliff Burtons, and I have the big Super 7 Ultimates Edition Cliff, which I have to unbox one of these weeks. I'm trying to get my other camera angle back from before I was ill and see if I can get it set back up again. Also today was the 30th anniversary of Alice in Chains' EP Jar of Flies. They are still playing songs off of this thing to this day. I just saw them live in October, and they were playing at least half the record live, including No Excuses and I Stay Away. It was amazing. And Nutshell. People love Nutshell. Nutshell's my favorite song off of this. If you got a favorite song off this record, let me know. Drop a comment. Absolute banger. You're so right. It debuted. It was the first rock EP ever to debut at number 1. And there was not another rock anything debut at number 1 until Linkin Park made their EP with Jay-Z, if that counts. I think it counts. And they did a signing in New York City the day it came out. I went, and Lane wasn't there. It was like the one guy I wanted to meet the most, and he didn't. He was, for whatever reason, he wasn't there. But it was before cell phone cameras and recording everything, and I didn't have a disposable camera with me that day for whatever reason. And but I got to shake the hands of the band. They autographed it, and then I think I left my CD with the autograph at my guitar player's house, and his mom threw the CD booklet away. And the CD. And the case. Like, it was like a special case that had like little flies in the spine of the CD. It was a see-through thing with like little rubber flies that were supposed to represent the jar of flies. Yeah, it sucks. What are you gonna do? Crazy. People are crazy. Why would you throw something away that wasn't yours? This has been controversial. This is probably one of our most commented stories on this week on the socials. Guns N' Roses put out they've been putting out a series of singles, reimagined singles from Chinese Democracy, Leftovers, and demos. They have yet to write a new song. As of now, oh, I love that. It's Gonna Rain When I Die. Word. Dirt is my favorite. Dirt is one of my favorite records, period. Top 3 or 4 ever. So GNR has been putting out a series of singles and played a couple of them live, including this one, The General. And they're all reimagined songs from Leftovers. They've been worked on by Slash and Duff with Axl's, framework of the previous demos and stuff. But it's interesting to me that like they haven't really put out a brand new song yet, and they don't have any that I know of. They haven't announced any tour dates for the year yet. So I don't know if they finally run its course and they need a break. I know some of those shows were not selling out well. Others did. But they put out this completely AI video for The General, and people are very in their feelings about whether this is good or bad. Don't support AI anything, and we'll talk about why in a second. If you've seen this video, let me know what you think of it. I should probably do a reaction video. I swear to do more podcasts and reaction videos this year. Maybe I'll do more on Twitch, but I didn't think it was terrible. A lot of people were like, this is legitimizing AI, a major band like this. This is actually the second or third AI video I've seen this week. Some of those performances were rough. I saw GNR in the very original comeback tour in 2016, the Not in This Lifetime tour. And I saw them 2 years ago here in the Bay Area at Bottle Rock Napa, the infamous they ran out of time and they pulled the power on them show when they were doing Paradise City with Pink and Dave Grohl. And they were great. Axl doesn't sound like nobody sounds like they used to sound when they were 25 or 30. Maybe Halford, maybe Dickinson. That's it. A couple of other people. And so maybe Axl doesn't have the power anymore. But I mean, yeah, he has the range still. He hits all the notes. His performance is incredible. He's constantly running all over the stage. He doesn't sing out of breath. He runs around, but he still sings in control, which is better than I can say for other people. Danzig, I'm looking at you, still a good voice, but like nobody wants to see you with the Misfits running back and forth and huffing and puffing out of breath. I want to see you stand still and just sing, bro. You're incredible. Do your thing. But yeah, I didn't hate the show. I love the show actually, but I understand that people have seen some very rough Guns N' Roses shows for whatever reason. And most of those guys are sober now, including Duff and Slash, which is really crazy. And maybe even Dizzy is also sober, I think. I met and hung out with Frank Farrar, and I met Richard Fortas once. Also nice, super nice. And I would love to talk to Melissa Reese someday. All right, anyway, this sucks. I was never the biggest Pitchfork fan, but if you are a music fan, you know about Pitchfork and how huge and pervasive they were as a music website. And they used to mock and deride metal and only cover indie rock and alternative rock and stuff. And the NPR music artists. And then they started covering metal when it was hip about 10, 12 years ago. They acquired a bunch of actual good metal journalists, and they started to become an authority on metal, for better or worse. And a Pitchfork review meant a lot to a band that's trying to get their name out there, streaming, sales. And half their staff was laid off. This is the time of the year when a lot of corporate layoffs have been happening. We saw Bandcamp get shredded last fall, and then GQ, Condé Nast is the parent company of both GQ and Pitchfork, and they folded Pitchfork into GQ. I'm just going to be honest with you. Nobody reads GQ to learn about music, let alone metal or punk or any kind of good hard rock. But what's left of Pitchfork will now be part of GQ. A lot of people lost their jobs. It was strange takes on the internet. Again, I used to make a living as a writer, writing about metal and rock. And, I don't want anyone to lose their job. And I guess there's Sports Illustrated also kind of folded up shop and went out of business totally finally, or their license to be Sports Illustrated was pulled, is more accurate. And so a lot of the ideas, well, I can just get AI to write the news stories, but you really can't. You really can't, especially when it comes to critique. You really can't trust AI for this. But I understand that, AI is not going away. It's part of our culture and our society now. So I'm bummed about this, even though Pitchfork, again, used to kind of make fun of metal and not support metal genuinely. But that's my opinion. What's yours? We'd like to know. Evanescence. You cannot know Evanescence without knowing Bring Me to Life, Wake Me Up. You just sang it right after I said that. Their song has crossed the 1 billion mark on streaming. There's been a bunch of songs hitting the 1 billion mark recently, and that's another one. And the Billions Club on Spotify in particular, it's impressive. So good for them, and good for Evanescence. They continue to support their album, The Bitter Truth, with a lot of touring. All right, moving right along. Here's Corey Taylor. What does Corey Taylor think? Corey Taylor did a very Corey Taylor-like thing. I know he's always tweeting his opinions and sharing his thoughts in interviews, but he did a straight-up social media video to fans. She doesn't do a lot of. And he was talking about his mental health and why he canceled a whole huge headline tour because he's been not doing well. He said he had an utter and complete breakdown, if I'm going to paraphrase, and he needed this time away. At the same time, fans then were mad at him because he is going to do a tour of Asia. It's like a week of shows, and they were like, why are you going on tour at all? I thought you were taking a break. And he said, well, I'm testing myself to see if I can go out there. And I'm going to be honest, Faith No More did the same thing. Mike, after the worst of COVID, said that he kind of had like a bunch of agoraphobia. He was afraid to go out and afraid to go on tour and afraid to go to shows and even be social. So they did he did a couple of shows to just see if he could go do it. And it worked. So he did more. And that's been his thing ever since. Glass Artery says, kind of sad that we are using generative AI to replace folks' legitimate jobs like journalism. Frightening. Abby Locks is here. Hi, Abby. Abby is my former high school classmate. Good to see you. We lost a member of our high school actually this week, which made me very sad. Teresa Scudero's friend Nancy made me very sad. But here's another just head scratcher for the week. We had Tommy Johansson, after, I don't know, 10 years in Sabaton, has left the band. He's going to focus on his other projects like Majestica. It's a pretty cool name for a band. But yeah, Tommy out of Sabaton, who are celebrating their 25th anniversary as a band this year with a bunch of monthly live streams and things and events. I wonder if they will reference Tommy when they finally come back to do their first one with their fans. It will be very interesting. We are almost done with the show. 1 hour mark. Thanks for being here. Heavy Temple has announced a new album. Super stoked for this. Love this band. Their last album was amazing. I believe it's on Magnetic Eye Records. Really, really cool. Very, very stoked for new Heavy Tempo out of Philly. Philly. This is Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum. If you're a fan of progressive rock and progressive avant-garde weirdness, they're a killer band, and they are coming back with a new album next month. Their first in a long time. We premiered their recent new music video, so stay tuned for more Sleepy Time Gorilla fun from us and elsewhere. Yeah, I get it. I mean, AI is a part of everything we do, though. It's in predictive text in your phone, for your app. It's on these apps. It's in everything. So on one hand, I don't think you should be replacing people's jobs with it. It should be enhancing things like fact checking and spell checking and things like that, and social marketing metrics and stuff that use generative and predictive AI. Predictive AI is definitely better than generative. Right, Sleepy Time Gorilla. I knew you were going to be a fan, Glass Artery, of course. Going to be a lot of fun to see them. They're going to be great live. I know that, they've been some hiatuses and things with their members, but this is a full reunion, and I'm here for it. We're here for it. I got asked, do you want to premiere one of their videos? I was like, yes, we do. And I had to do that from a hospital bed also. So I got to take better care of myself. Also, this weekend is NAMM, the NAMM show in Southern California, the National Association of Music Merchants. This is where all the gear people get together. And it did become a fan event in the last 10 years. I have never been to NAMM. Ghost Cult has covered NAMM before. Nick Menza documentary that's been in the works for a long time. This Was My Life by Screaming Sutter Entertainment and Ellefson Films is going to have its trailer review release. Was this weekend, so at some point it'll come out, it'll hit there, it'll hit on YouTube, and then we will surely have a news story about it. Very excited. Love Nick Menza, love Megadeth, love the Nick Menza era of Megadeth, and I would love to see this documentary. Thorsten is here. Hello. La Suspendia is a jazz metal opera. Say that a few times and let it sink in. Jazz metal opera collective. La Suspendia featuring Kilter, a multinational band of metalers, including Kenny Grahowski of Imperial Triumphant, Seven Sons, the great violin quartet that has played with Dillinger Escape Plan. So many killer other artists, the Growlers Choir. Indeed. Thank you so much, Glass Order. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're absolutely right. Got to take care of myself. So La Suspendia is finally putting out a whole album of their piece. Librettist Bill Berger. I think we have some mutuals in New York City. I might get to interview them at some point, maybe next week. But La Suspendia, we covered one of the very first performances ever in the world of this. Kilter's on tour in Europe right now. I imagine there will be more if they can put it together with everybody's schedules, live performances. But this is pretty unique and special. It's really hard to compare it to anything else. It's like if Arjun Lucasen and Isan and Devin Townsend all got together, but also with Imperial Triumphant, basically. It's wild. I really enjoyed it. And there's a story that goes along with it. It's pretty great. Here's POD. Looking like a jet plane is landing behind them in this menacing shot at a parking lot somewhere. And they have announced their new album, Veritas. They've had a series of singles, including one with D. Randall Bly of Lamb of God and one with Tatiana from Ginger. So very killer stuff. POD, I interviewed POD last spring and hung out with Sonny for a few minutes. And he predicted this album was coming and said that people are going to be wildly. Yep, Jazz Metal Opera Collective. That is correct. La Suspendia. Check it out. There's a review at Ghost Cult if you want to. Maybe I'll link it in the description so people can check it out, and maybe a link to their music. Just like it sounds, jazz metal opera with like demon vocals and a little bit of opera. But yeah, POD new album, always a good time. And then here's Sleep Token again. I wasn't around to talk about this the last week and a half, but we're going to talk about it now. I mentioned previously in the show, Sleep Token has announced a big U.S. tour. And, a lot of people are doing this now where they're wiping their social media and then putting out new stuff. It's kind of a new age of social media with this collecting of people. You really want engaged diehard fans, and you only know who they are sometimes by scrubbing your socials and then putting them back. And so, Sleep Token has done this a few times in their career. They will wipe out the last year of stuff to announce something else major, an album, a tour. So they wiped their socials, and people were speculating like, one of their members or all of their members got doxxed, including, they're trying to be anonymous like Ghost used to be and Slipknot used to be, and they don't want their identities public. So there was a story, I don't know the veracity of it, it came from Reddit, but somebody had said like maybe one of their fans leaked the information of this person's like identity and address and stuff online. If that's the case, that's terrible. But also then it was like, that was actually blown out of proportion. It didn't really happen. We don't know what the truth is. There's also a third theory I'm going to float right now. Like this was a huge publicity stunt. All of this was a publicity stunt, and Sleep Token is trolling everybody to get more attention. They're great. I saw them live. They're legit. That album is great. It may not be for everybody. What is metal? What isn't metal? This sounds like R&B. There are entire people that listen to metalcore bands that have no guitars that sound like heavy R&B stuff. Could almost be like, Justin Timberlake songs, except they have beats and breakdowns with very little guitar in it. So Sleep Token, no different to me than some of that stuff, no different than Ghost. And they want to keep the secret as long as they can. So if a fan actually found and leaked their personal information. That's horrible. If it's a publicity stunt, that's dumb, but it worked because it's all anybody was talking about for a whole week was sleep token, sleep token, sleep token, sleep token. So good for them, I guess. Also, this is Katarina from Escuela Grind, who hurt her neck diving into the crowd and not getting caught at a show. Escuela Grind's brand new EP, Death Metal, is out now. And we had an interview with Katarina and never made it to the getting published stages, just too much stuff going on at their house to do the proper interview. We will try to get them again when she's feeling better. But yeah, Escuela Grind, one of the most exciting bands right now out there doing hardcore, grindcore, death metal. They're mad good. I also want to give, before I go forward, I just want to give a big shout out to, they put out a limited shirt with criticisms from Lambgoat. Our friends are over at lambgoat.com. And they put out, like, I can't say the words or I'll be demonetized, but they put out like comments fans made about them on Lambgoat printed on a shirt. Really smart. Really smart. Limited edition. They also had a Schoolhouse Rocks logo type of shirt that sold out in like 2 seconds. That was really sad. I don't really wear white metal shirts. As you can see, I got my yellow haunt shirt on, but yeah, I really wanted that Schoolhouse Rock shirt. Salted Earth Records is here. What's up? What's up? What's up? We're down to the end of the show here, but thanks for being here. Got something very cool to show in just a minute. Bat, the crossover thrash punk rock side project from guys in Municipal Waste, have signed to Nuclear Blast Records. Makes sense. Municipal Waste is on Nuclear Blast Records, so Bat has new music coming out, and now they have a record deal with Nuclear Blast. Pretty cool. This is a big story this week. I don't know if anybody's watching True Detective on HBO. I just started it, the new season, True Detective with Jodie Foster. It's like her first thriller role in a long time. Certainly her first kind of similar role to her role in Silence of the Lambs and kind of put her on the map. And there was a scene in the first couple of episodes of True Detective where they have like somebody's a metalhead and these are the posters behind them. And these are, speaking of AI, Event Horizon, AI generated metal posters. One's supposed to look like Metallica. It's like if you have production design for HBO and you're a production designer, you don't know what metal, you can't like Google important metal bands and get posters from them and put them up instead of these fake bullshit posters. I know people are really angry about this. I'm not, but it's curious. Remember The Sopranos, all the metal product placement in The Sopranos, music playing, posters, CDs, whatever AJ was listening to, and even sometimes Meadow would listen to metal. Just do better. Just do better. If you're going to do it at all, do better. All right. Ghost put out a new single today. Widow Song. I have an interview coming up with Ghost I'm very excited about. James Lawler is actual Ghost, G-O-S-T, sort of a synthwave with some guitars, a little bit of industrial, a little bit of EDM, a little bit of electronic music, all killer. I've seen Ghost twice all over the world, here in the States and also in Europe. Amazing performance. Fans are into it. They were moshing, they were dancing, they were screaming. It was pretty great. Here's a cool meme. Speaking of Sopranos, here is Sopranos family minus Tony as the band Hole. Almost looks like the whole album cover, that one particular one. Poor AJ has to be in there. But Edie Falco could have played Courtney Love at one point. She's too old now. But just a funny meme. I like the band Hole and I like Courtney Love. I know I'm in the minority. That means we're almost at the end of the show. Actually, before we do we do the mailbag? No. Looks like I skipped the thing, but I'm going to do it anyway. Before I go ahead, let's do the New Music Friday rundown really quick and talk about what new records are coming out this week, because we haven't done it all year, because early in the year it was dead quiet, and now we've had a couple of heavy release weeks. So I'm going to just call up my list and read off what's coming out today. Abhorria, some dystopian black metal on Prosthetic Records with their album Depths. Lord Dying, I just interviewed Chris from Lord Dying, that'll run next month. Clandestine Transcendence, yet another concept album in their trilogy of new albums, progressive metal, sludge metal, doom metal. Malist of Scorched Earth on Avant-Garde Records, melodic black metal, black and death metal, melodic black metal. Upon Stone, killer band, melodic death metal, Dead Mother Moon on Century Media Records. Alkaline Trio, the aforementioned Alkaline Trio's new album, Blood, Hair, and Eyeballs on Rise Records. Almost Dead, we premiered their whole album stream this week. Destruction Is All We Know on Inner Strength Records, thrash and crossover from the Bay Area where I live, killer band. Seriously Lazy, which one? The AI, possibly. Photos from Steven is here. Hi, Photos from Steven. Dripping Decay, Ripping Remains EP on Satanic Royalty Records. That's a death metal album. Exocrine Legend on Season of Mist, some tech death. Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes, our newest review on our site. Dark Rainbow, I'm a big Frank Carter fan and stan. That is on their own record label, International Death Cult. The Gems is the band of the former members of Thunder Mother. Their debut album, Phoenix, is on Napalm Records. Ghost Atlas, the side project of Jesse Cash from Era, sort of alternative rock, is out on Dust of the Human Shape on UNFT. Guts, killer band from New York with my homie Dan Martinez on bass. He's incredible. Regeneration on Seeing Red Records, big fan there. Yeah, the AI metal post, it's just lazy. Just like, I don't care what kind of rush you were in, you could have did better. You surely could have got, rather than have a post that looks like Metallica, you could have had a Metallica poster. It's not like you can't find them everywhere. High Raise is this awesome melodic death metal on Napalm Records. Lucifer's new album, we just covered their tour at the end of the year. Lucifer 5 for some retro stoner rock and psychedelic rock on Nuclear Blast. Mountain Caller, probably my second favorite record out this week. Chronicle 2, Hypergenesis on Church Road Records, the esteemed Church Road Records that we love a lot. Don't be lazy. Do it now. Get to the chopper. That's correct. That's a very bad impersonation of Arnold. I usually do better. New Model Army, if you love bands from the early 80s, their new record, Unbroken, is out on Ear Music. Orhava, Sacrifice on Avant-Garde Records. That's the black gaze post-black metal band. Slower, this is my favorite release of the entire year to close out this section of the show. Slower is a stoner doom psychedelic rock EP of Slayer covers. Stoner doom, psychedelic rock, Slayer covers. And it's done with members of Caius and Yawning Man and Year of the Cobra and more. And you need this record. This is so sick. I probably have to get this on vinyl. That's how much I love this. Metallica Book is here. Hey, Metallica Book. We did some Metallica news earlier in the show. And next week, it'll already be February. First weekend of February next week. All right. So that is the New Music Friday list. And now we're on to the final part of the show, the mailbag. And I got something really cool in the mailbag here. This came out late in the year. Look at this fun box this came in. Fragile Hand with Care. This is going to be the Cannibal Corpse cold brew coffee set from Beheaded Brewing. Shout out to them. I love this packaging with the their label tape in it that looks like the Cannibal Corpse logo. Here's kind of a close-up of the can. And I'm going to open this and unbox it. I wish I had my other camera view, but I'm going to just try to show it in a way that's pleasing to everybody. Here it is. I open the box, and it's got a little plasticky wrap here. You can see in the box here. I'm going to hold it up so everybody can see. Pretty killer. Here's a sticker. It's got some lovely this red packing material. That's fun, like confetti. Here's a can of the cold brew. I'm going to take a sip and tell you what it's like. Do a little review. What else is in here? And there's a bag of coffee. And I don't want to get this red crap all over my studio, but there it is. Be picking up red stuff off my socks for a week. And here is the Cannibal Corpse Beheaded Brewing ground coffee bag. I'm really excited to try this out. Liquefy your brains. Look at this back cover. So sick. They've done a series of coffees with bands. And this is really fun. This was the pre-order, limited edition pre-order. I know they were selling 4 packs of the cans. I was like, that's a lot of commitment. It's the same thing with a craft beer. When I buy beer, or I used to buy beer, so I'm going to do a try a couple of months now while I get my health together. But yeah, this is insanely beautifully packed. And I'm going to try the cold brew. This is the can. Cannibal Corpse Beheaded Brewing. Look at this beautiful can. At the very least, it's like a very cool collectible can. There's cold brew, and then there's this. Tasting notes: cedar, vanilla, malty. Oh, my glasses on. Body above average. Origin Bali. Finish smooth and balanced. Processed well hulled. I should not really be drinking a coffee at almost 9 at night, California time, but here is my life. Oh, Guts is so good, dude. Of course. All right, let's do it. Here's the pop. All right. Smells very dark and earthy for a coffee. Let's cheers, all. Let's have some coffee at 9 at night. Ooh, it's strong, but it's really good. Very flavorful and rich. If you like a rich, robust coffee, like maybe like a breakfast dark roast, this is very comparable. And I usually do my coffee with a little almond milk. So that's going to happen next. And that's the mailbag, and that's our show, man. Again, I'm super stoked to have this amazing coffee and a sticker and a can of this. Was definitely worth it, whatever I paid. I don't remember right this second. And I'm sure it'll be available in larger quantities soon elsewhere. Chug it. Nah, I can't, bro. I will be so. I got to get to sleep at some point, and the meds are kind of clashing with me. I have to take my next round of medicine and eat, and then do some more ghost culting. But so good to be back. This is a very long show, probably a lot longer than I expected it to be. But thank you for everybody that tuned in presently, anybody that's watching over the weekend on the rebroadcast. If you're listening to the Ghost Cult Magazine podcast, give us a like, give us a follow, drop a comment if you like what you heard, drop a comment if you don't like what you heard. I read all the comments, and we publish almost all of them except the really nasty ones that are violating the terms of service. But thanks everybody for here. Thanks to everybody that shouted me out and gave me some support on my personal health struggles right now. I will probably make some updates in the future. It's not a death sentence. It's just I have to make some major changes to be able to keep doing what I love. So glad to see. Yeah, I'm glad to see me up and around. I'm a terrible patient, and the nurses and the shout out to Kaiser Permanente, who took amazing care of me. I am home, and I'm on the road to recovery. So thanks to everybody for being here. Once again, I am Keefe at Ghost Cult Magazine. And as we say, ghostcultmag.com. Please check us out. And as we say every week at this juncture of the show, it's a tough time in the world. So please take care of yourselves, take care of everybody around you, and stay as metal as humanly possible. We'll see you soon. Thanks. All right. Trying to get this to go. There we go.